Welcome back to some more Yu-Gi-Oh content. My name is Q Productions, and of course, we're playing the new deck. In this video, we're using Infinitrack, and this is a little different type of video because normally I don't talk in my videos. I just have, you know, the gameplay and weird sound effects. But this one I wanted to be a little different because I made this deck a while ago, and I had a lot of fun making it, and a lot of fun using it. And because of how much fun I had, I was like, I need to change a little bit of the style of video and try and go in depth on how much I like this deck, why I made it, and the strengths and weaknesses of it. So there will be timestamps at the description of the video that will tell you what each duel was, and I'll be commentating each duel as well, so you can get a better understanding of why I did things and how everything works. Right now you can see the deck list at the beginning of the video, and we made an Infinitrack deck. Infinitrack is a really interesting deck to use Earth Machine monsters. Earth Machine monsters are really good because they basically all summon themselves using each other, or have really weird ways of using the machine type to get really strong boss monsters on the field, like Zeus and this tank that is basically really strong for no reason, Dreadnought. So this deck, the strength of this deck is the fact that this deck is extremely consistent, and also can play through hand traps pretty well because of the fact that it has like 5 or 4 different searchers, and having multiple different searchers is extremely useful. Not to mention, even if your opponent does somehow negate your effect, you can just use Call by the Grave and say no. So this deck is really good about doing that. This deck also is really good at going first or second because of the fact that if you go first, you can put up a board that may not have any negates, but your cards are kind of hard to destroy. So as a result, you can basically just put up big bodies on the field and your opponent can't really do much about it. And the second thing that makes the deck good is the fact that it can go second as well, and you can just put those big bodies on your field and destroy your opponent's cards unless they have, like, you know, extremely powerful negates, which is why we use Dark Blue no more and Dark Hole to destroy your opponent's field. Realize now that when showing the deck profile, I do not have Dark Hole in my deck. That's because I remember I was using it, but I never really got a chance to actually use it, and then I chose to just swap it out with Lightning Storm because they basically do the same thing, but Lightning Storm can be used on spells and traps compared to just monsters, and Dark Hole also destroys your monsters, so I don't want to use Dark Hole on my own monsters, so I decided to use Lightning Storm instead. When it comes to weaknesses of this deck, I would say there aren't really that many, but I would say the main problem with this deck is the fact that it does not have negates. And at least the deck I have right now doesn't have negates. Instead, it's an OTK deck. It's supposed to be used so you can just OTK your opponent, or just so you can put these big bodies on the field that your opponent cannot deal with, like I said before. But other than that, negating your opponent and making it so they can't play the game, honestly, is extremely optimal. So the fact that this deck can't do that is a little bit of a problem, but we'll still try our best, and we'll try to win, as you'll see in these future duels. In this first duel, we got an amazing starting hand, so we're going to use Foolish Burial to send Machina, monster from our deck, to the graveyard. Then we're going to tribute 2 monsters from our hand, so we can literally spell summon that same Machina monster. Then use Heavy Forward to add the really good Infinitrack monster, and then we're banishing Infinitrack Trencher from the graveyard, so we can spell summon Infinitrack Anchor Drill, which lets us spell summon Infinitrack Harvester, so we can add Bulldozer, the basically key piece of the deck. Tribute, and then spell summon another level 5 from the deck. Turn that level 5 into a level 9, and then we get to XD summon easily. Now you see how easily this deck just puts a big body on the field. Then we can tribute another monster, add this card, and that lets us add, I forgot we gotta banish a card from the graveyard. Then we can add Outringer Extension, and when we add Outringer Extension, we have the ability to turn our rank 9 to rank 11 whenever we want to, but the reason why I put it on the field this time was just so that way my opponent cannot target the card effects. I have no idea what deck my opponent is using, but he adds Poly from his deck to his hand, and then he surrenders. Well, technically it says connection failed, but I feel like he surrendered because he couldn't do anything probably against the cards. Okay, time for the next duel. As you can see, we have Dark Hole and Pot of Desires. So we're going to use Pot of Desires so we can draw 2 cards and hope our opponent doesn't have Ash Blossom. And then we're going to normal summon Infinitrack, Anchor Drill, so we can special summon Trencher. And then we're going to XZ summon into a rank 9. Now, we're probably wondering, why do you have Dark Hole in your hand? When I made these videos and when I recorded these replays, I used Dark Hole and I used Lightning Storm, but I didn't use them both after like 5 duels because I realized I would either get one or the other or both, and I need both, so I just got rid of Dark Hole. And like I said before at the beginning of the game, I didn't want to destroy my own cards, so I did that. But as you can see, we ranked 9 into a Mega Phantom Beast, so we can banish 1 card from our opponent's hand. Luckily, we draw Harvey's Paradise, which will destroy my entire opponent's back row. And then we're going to banish 1 card from my opponent controls, and they're just going to, because, like I said, summoning big monsters that have really strong effects just beat your opponent before they can do anything. Our third opponent today is using Branded Lost and Fusion Destiny and Soul Servant. I don't really know what kind of deck this is, but I think it's a Dark Magician deck. Luckily, we have Ash Blossom, so he cannot use Fusion Destiny, because then he would have a really annoying destruction effect that we can't really beat. But it doesn't really matter, because in Yu-Gi-Oh fashion, our hand is terrible. This deck is extremely consistent and also really easy at searching out cards, but sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh you just get a bad hand, so you just can't do anything. Then he'll use Magician's Rise so he can get Dark Magical Circle and attack me, because he has a monster and I have nothing, and there's Dark Magician. And we still have nothing we can special summon. We do have Dark Hole in case we need to destroy it, everything in his field, besides the spells, but it's the fact that we still can't do anything. And we place down infinite impermanence, and again, we're stuck here. So this is one of those situations where it's like, we're kind of in a bad spot, but luckily my opponent can't do anything because Dark Magician is also really bricky. And the fact that I negated his Fusion Destiny makes so he can't do a lot. But now we finally got a card that makes us win, basically. Machina Redeployment. And then my opponent uses Maxi, and I'm over here like, why? But it doesn't really matter that much because we get to add 2 Machina monsters from our decks to our hand. But also, is because of the fact I didn't want him drawing a bunch of cards, I just normal summoned once, and then I added Infinitrack and Drill from my deck to my hand, and I put Outranger Extension on the field and destroyed Magician's Rod. And I didn't do anything else. Normally I would just special summon a lot, but because of the fact that he's using a Dark Magician deck, I did not want him to get cards so that way he could actually summon those really annoying cards, so I just said I won't special summon this time. But like usual, now that we actually have cards we can normal summon, we can go for the full combo and kill my opponent basically instantly, and there's nothing he can do about it unless that face down card can like destroy my entire field, like Surrender Tribute or something like that. So we're going to go to Infinitrack, Earth Slicer, destroy face down card, because I have not been able to deal with that. It was super powerful, I'm glad I destroyed it. Banish Infinitrack Trencher, re-special summon another Infinitrack monster from the graveyard, and then we're going to XZ summon rank 5. And this card is really interesting, Infinitrack River Stormer. It basically lets you either add any Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand, or send any Earth Machine monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is extremely useful. And then we summon Dread. And my opponent really can't do anything in this situation, so we're going to do a lot of damage to him, but he's still going to be able to survive. But we are going to increase our attack to 6,000. And the reason why we did that is so we can just send our copy of Infinitrack Earth Slicer from our rank 11 to the graveyard. Then we're going to summon Goliath so we can re-special summon our Infinitrack Earth Slicer in the graveyard, was a really cool idea, and the reason why I did it is because in case my opponent can do something, like he just plays down 2 face down cards, this turn we have the ability to just use our Infinitrack Earth Slicer and immediately destroy those cards. But first, I'm going to just make sure I win by adding more cards from my deck to my hand, just in case my opponent has something special. We're going to destroy one of them. It doesn't really matter which one to destroy, because he has no way to actually use the face down cards. Then we're going to rank 9, XC Summon into Mega Panda Beast. The only one that banners things. You love it. Mega Panda Beast. Banish his card. And then I was like, I'm being a little greedy, but I don't care. I'm going to summon Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops, which is probably one of my favorite Link monsters ever made. Basically what this card does is it takes 3 Xyz monsters to actually summon it. Once you summon it though, it's immune to all monster effects except for Xyz monsters. And you can literally target one card your opponent controls, target 1 Xyz monster in your graveyard, then you special summon the Xyz monster from your graveyard, and then you attach the card that you targeted that your opponent controls to the Xyz monster as material. But as you can see, my opponent surrendered, or the connection failed, but he basically left the game because he realized he lost and he can't do anything, so that's game number 3. Okay, game number 4. So in this duel, our hand is amazing, but our opponent decides to go first, and he plays down 3 traps. And I don't know what they are, but I don't really care. We're using machinery deployment, so we can just send our prismatic or what's called glossy shiny to the graveyard and add 2 machinery from our deck to the hand. We're going to tribute to special summon it, and my opponent's gonna be like, bye, lol, but he doesn't understand this is not one. So we're gonna redo it again. And normal summon, Anchor Drill, special summon Machina, add the same 3 cards, show my cards, then we're gonna, you know, to do tribute, Bulldozer, put up field, get another one, and then we're going to turn to level 9, so we can rank 9, XZ summon, then my opponent's like, bye, again. But because I don't care, I can just be like, and then re-summon a different one, turn this into a level 9, after I add this card from my deck to my hand, and I'm going to special summon this so I can literally put it in the graveyard and draw 5 cards later on, and we're going to rank 9, XP summon the same card again, Infinitrack Earth Slicer, and we're going to destroy our opponent's card, but then he surrenders for a good reason. The reason why I showed this duel is because this is an example of how good this deck is at fighting through negates and or disruption, and it's just amazing, like, because the deck is so consistent. It has so many ways to bring back its own cards that I really wanted to show y'all how easy it is to just sometimes come back from really annoying situations. And that concludes duel number 4, and if you're enjoying the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what the best part of the video was, and please continue watching. Okay, duel number 5. Our hand is not bad, but also pretty bad, because we can't actually normal or special summon anything, and our opponent is using a Galaxy Eyes deck, so, that's right, I lied, Utopia deck, and as a result, we're basically gonna get destroyed instantly. But I use Infinite Impermanence. Now, y'all can tell me in the comments if I did something wrong. I use Infinite Impermanence here, because I thought, and I've seen where people will, you know, XE summon another Utopia off another Utopia, and I was thinking maybe if I use Infinite Impermanence, it would negate that effect. Now, I probably was wrong, but I did it anyway, so you can tell me in the comments. But anyway, luckily, we are able to get Infinitrack, Anchor Drill, normal summon it, you know, the usual, XE summon, rank 9, and like every battle so far, or every duel so far, we just destroy his cards. Then, of course, we're going to rank 11 and use the Infinitrack Earth Slicer to make Dreadnought. Get 6,000 attack, attack our opponent directly and do lots of damage. And also we're going to, of course, re-special summon this card so we can get Goliath on the field. So we can re-special summon our Slicer. And like I said, I just love the fact that this deck can just consistently do this. It's amazing. And my opponent can't target these XE monsters because of the continuous spell on the field. So 6,000 damage to our opponent. What is he gonna do next turn? And then we also place our Forbidden Droplet on the field because making sure our opponent can't put the game is fun. That's how you use it. When I spoke too soon, our opponent is like, I'm going to destroy your continuous spell, so now I can target your XE monsters with card effects. He summons 2 cards, and then he realizes he can't win, and victory goes to me. So he surrenders, and we win again with our Earth Machine Infinitrack deck. Duel number 6. So our hand, like usual, godlike. But of course we're going second, so but our opponent is using Guys, and he's going to summon Guys, I think Photon Dragon, and the name of the card is. But first he's going to do all this nonsense. I know he's doing honestly because I don't use Guys. I just know he's about to summon Guys because it's not hard to summon. They're a really easy to summon deck. So he's about to summon Guys, and I noticed that Guys like can easily summon their cards, but they like don't have like the strongest cards, which is weird considering how easy it is to summon them. So he's about to summon Guys. I can't read that. Long name, Jesus. Number 62 Guys. Prime Photon Dragon, and I'm gonna use Machinery Redeployment so I can just send the right cards to the graveyard, add the right cards to my hand, and then we're going to contribute, special summon a free card basically. Then we're going to normal summon our Anchor Drill like usual, special summon our Mission Monster, get the same Bulldozer, you know, the usual tribute summon, special summon from the deck, rank 9, XC summon, destroy my opponent's monsters, get the drill. Literally amazing. Easy combo, love it so much. We're gonna destroy his boss monster and his strongest attack monster. Then he has some great effect. I'm like, no. Because I don't know what it is, I don't feel like reading it, I just know it's not gonna be good for me, so I have to negate it. That's how you play Yu-Gi-Oh! You point at the graveyard and then things go away. And we destroy his card. Now notice how I destroy his card with my Infinitrack Earth Slicer. It's because when you destroy your card by battle with Infinitrack Earth Slicer, you get to add that card to Infinitrack Earth Slicer as a material. So now we have an extra material for our card. Then we're gonna summon Infinitrack Goliath so we can then put our Machine Fortress in the graveyard and get a link to Machine Monster. So then we can give Goliath to our Infinitrack Earth Slicer, banish our Infinitrack Tunneler so we can put 5 cards from our graveyard to the deck and draw 2 cards. And now we basically have a unbeatable board because we have Forbidden Droplet and our opponent can't play the game. And he doesn't even summon anything this turn. He really has no normal summon or special summon. So we're going to kill him this turn, but because of the fact that I want to make sure we can, you know, at least do something because our opponent has like some weird hand trap, I am going to do my combo, but he just surrendered. So that's game number 6. Okay, duel number 7. Our hand is the definition of perfect. Of course, my opponent wants to be greedy and use Pot of Extravagance, but we have Ash Blossom. So we're going to say no and win. Our hand is perfect because we have 2 normal summons that are basically deck searchers. Then we have 2 spells that are also deck searchers. So it's basically there's no way our opponent can do anything really to beat us. So I'm going to heavy forward just to scout up for an Ash Blossom. And I'm going to get my Infinitrack Drill on her. And then Anchor Drill. Then I'm going to use Machinery Redeployment so I can get 2 Machine Monsters. With Anchor Drill, we're going to normal summon our Harvester so we, of course, can get our Brutal Dozer. And then our opponent's like, well, you thought, and gonna use Metaverse and turn everything into a dark type. Now, I immediately decided to do this. Nightmare Phoenix. The reason why I have this card in my extra deck is because of the fact that I don't like dealing with certain spells. I use Nightmare Phoenix because I don't know for sure, but I'm almost certain that I cannot special summon my Link monsters and my XE monsters because my monsters are now dark type. So I used Nightmare Phoenix to destroy the field spell, make them Earth again, and my opponent surrendered because he realized that he can't just make my monsters on the field dark and then I can't XYZ or Link summon anymore. But once I destroyed his card, he was like, oh, I lose. But that concludes duel number 7, and it's time for the last duel of the video. Final duel. We're fighting against Sky Striker. So of course, we're gonna fight against a really strong deck if you want to actually play you. So he immediately summons his Sky Striker Mobilize and decides to add a spell from his deck to his hand. And I'm worried because I know Sky Striker spells just lock you out of playing the game, basically, and it's not fun. So I use my, of course, Anchor Drill to do the normal combo, and he has Maxi, which is already bad because I want to spell summon, but I cannot because he's like Maxi. Then he Ash Blossoms me, so I'm really screwed. And I even read to make sure I was like, really? And at this point, I am basically screwed and can't do it. But I destroy his card, but I forget it has a graveyard effect, so now his normal Sky Striker Ace has the ability to spell summon itself back. And I'm like, and then he just re-spell summons Striker Ace again, and then gets another spell, and I'm like, well, I misplayed. So I'm over here thinking we lost, and it basically is game over because all we have right now is one normal summon, but at least we have some monsters on the field, and then he's like, Regeki! So basically, like we've been doing the entire video, having a decent hand, he had a Godlike hand, and he's always a Sky Striker, so basically I have no way to win the game. I am basically forced to just hold this while he puts a bunch of spells that will counter me. Then he looks for 3 cards on top of his deck, and he gets Sky Striker Mecha, I can't read that, and Widow, and then he gets, of course, Kagare, the one that actually does a little bit of damage to you. The only bad thing about Sky Striker is they don't really do like very much damage. They kind of just prevent you from playing the game, like I said. And the prevention is a lot, but at the same time it is doable. But then my opponent is like, I'm making sure you don't play the game, and he calls by the grave my Anchor Drill. So even if I have one in my hand, I cannot use the effect this turn. I was so upset. I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I was like, okay, I have one option. Let's normal summon our Harvester. And my opponent's like, you thought, and takes control of my monster, in which negates its effect. And then it does nothing, and I'm basically like, well, now I have this 0 attack monster on the field that Kagari can just obliterate. So it's looking extremely bad for me, and there really honestly is no hope because Sky Striker cards just build momentum. He just keeps attacking, he keeps putting down more cards that counter me or that stop me from playing, and it's just not much I can do. Then he Monster Reborn. Notice how he's only playing spells. The Sky Striker benefits from having less spells in the graveyard. So he spells summons 2 cards and destroys my monster, and I'm screwed. Because the only way I can win now is if I have a way to release normal summon or special summon. I do have one normal summon in my hand right now, so I have a chance, but at the exact same time, if he has another negate, I lose. But notice how he doesn't play any other spells. So I resummon Harvester, because luckily I draw into it, and I get myself a timer. Then I use Bulldozer, get rid of Harvester, so I can resummon another Infinitrack monster in my deck, which of course will be the Saul, I can't remember his name right now, but I use it, put it in the graveyard, and then of course be XE5 to River Saul. With this, we can send any Infinitrack monster from our deck to our hand, or our deck to the graveyard. Then we are going to banish this card from the Graveyard Trencher so we can special summon Anchor Drill, so we can special summon on top of your Bulldozer, turn it into level 9, XZ summon to a Link 9, which of course will be our Earth Slicer. You see it every single duel, we love it. But then we're going to use Outringer Extension so we can turn Earth Slicer into Dreadnought. I think. Yes, Super Dreadnought. As a result, we are going to increase our attack, and in case you don't know, Dreadnought can attack multiple times. So because of that reason, we attack him twice with the increased attack, and we clutch the duel, and we win. That is the end of the video. I will show the deck list one more time at the end of the video just to see if you need to understand my thought process and the cards I used. Please, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video with anybody you know on any social media platform. And I'll be making more videos like this. I really like this in-depth content I did. I like the idea of like talking in my videos too. I probably will add some sound effects as well because I can and I want to. But if you enjoy it, share the video with somebody you know and like, comment. I love reading y'all's comments, so always do that. And see you in the next video. Bye.